Welcome back. A tip led to a WCNC investigation that uncovered a disturbing practice for housing foster kids in Charlotte. We learned some kids are sleeping at the Department of Social Services offices when there is nowhere else for them to go. But for months, the county refused to fill in the blanks until now. WCNC reporter Michelle Bowden kept pushing for answers, and tonight has that part of her continuing investigation and some potential solutions to this.
We were almost as surprised by the fact that kids were spending the night in government conference rooms as we were by the way the county handled our questions. But we kept asking, and tonight we're learning how they plan to fix this upsetting problem.
It was a shocking revelation. Foster kids in Charlotte forced to sleep in a government conference room.
We have had meetings with DSS leadership. They're very concerned because there are kids staying actually in their offices because they don't have placement for them. And I think there are kids staying in hotels as well.
We sat down with the executive director of a nonprofit called The Relatives back in April and tried repeatedly to get the county to comment. At the time, all we got was a "we, quote, appreciate your effort to assist in recruiting foster care placements." But once they saw our story, the county's deputy director, Anthony Trotman, agreed to talk.
Kids are not sleeping on the floor. They're sleeping on mattresses.
He oversees youth and family services.
There are times where kids are sleeping on mattresses in the government facility, and those are in the extreme situations.
How often would you say that's happening?
There's been a huge uptick in this particular situation because there's been more complex kids that have come into our custody, and that began to happen in the summer of 2022.
And he admitted foster kids are sleeping in conference rooms or hotels every month.
We've had on average around 6 kids that have had to either sleep in a hotel, one of our partner facilities that has beds, as well as the office.
So what happens when they're in the office?
There's 2 social workers that are assigned to each kid that's in our custody, and we make sure that they have all of the wraparound supports that they need. For kids that need to go to school, we give them transportation, and for kids that need to sleep in the office, we have mattresses and all of the bedding necessary to support those youth, as well as we provide food and snacks and the like.
How heartbreaking is this when you're talking about kids sleeping in a government building or a hotel?
It is never our intent to keep a kid in a government building. That's under extreme circumstances where a kid will be in a government building. It is our intent to put them in the proper placement setting, but when that placement setting isn't available, it is our responsibility as the custodial parent of that kid to ensure the kid's safety.
The county also clarified the initial numbers they gave us. On average, there are 500 foster kids in Mecklenburg County every day who need somewhere to go. There are just 88 licensed foster care homes in the county, down from 110 a few years ago, despite the area's growing population. There are another 500 placements available statewide, meaning Mecklenburg has to compete with every other county to use those additional homes.
And that is an issue that we have. We need more foster families. So we know it's a problem, and we are identifying solutions.
That's why Trotman says the county is now working with a marketing firm to help spread awareness, and they're making progress on building a new facility to house more kids.
Where we're going to have 6 beds for girls and 6 beds for boys, because we know that there's a continued issue as far as capacity.
But the facility won't be ready until 2025.
If you've ever thought about being a foster parent, there are lots of support groups in town, and there are classes scheduled to get you trained. We've got all the information you need on our website, WCNC.com. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.